Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 4 stories for you from Tales from the Squad Car. This story comes to us from Mafia Night. Bigger vehicles always have right of way, right? So there I was, supporting a sister chapter in their annual charity ride. I'll not mention which to protect the involved parties. We had a fabulous turnout this time. Some 250 plus bikes, at least, plus riders. We've arranged for a full police escort, no traffic lights, no stop signs, the works. It's a beautiful ride on a beautiful day through some beautiful winding countryside. I'm fortunate enough to be riding fairly close to the front of the pack, lead bike for the 3rd chapter back if memory serves. Well, about halfway into the ride, we passed this woman in a rundown old sedan trying to leave her driveway. She's looking ever more irritated and impatient by the second. Well, that's gonna be trouble, I think to myself, but nothing I can do about it. I'm already past her when the thought hits me. Sure enough, after 1/3 of the pack has passed her by, she runs clean out of patience and decides that prison is better than waiting here, and pulls out into the constant stream of bikes, trying to force her way through. Because bigger vehicles always have right of way, right? The bike she pulls in front of manages to dodge, but the one behind him was a newer rider and panics, slams right into her wheel well at 35 miles per hour and goes over the hood. 2 or 3 bikers behind him peel off and render aid. The rest of the ride just has to go around and continues on. Those who broke off make sure that the victim is alright, no major injuries, and get suspect out of the car so she doesn't try to hurt anyone else. Also, no major injuries. This is for charity, not a gang. The police escort catch up to them in a hurry and arrest her for some 150 counts of reckless endangerment, assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder, and failure to yield among others. The bike involved is wrecked, front end was all beat to heck. The 4 bikers involved drank free all night. We invited the officers, but they declined. She gets to enjoy a lesson in patience at the local jailhouse. No idea what charges actually stuck though. I wasn't privy to the court proceedings. OP added a quick edit at the bottom. It says, for those in the know, we're a 99% club and legally recognized non-profit charity. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Carrie Carter. It says, right of way, you can be legally right, but still be clinically dead. I always yielded the right of way to anyone who wanted to try to take me off my bike. In this case, willful and deliberate use of a motor vehicle to cause a collision that common sense says was preventable. Throw the book at her several times. OP responded to this one and said, I agree. Plenty of fools and malicious people out there who just don't care about bikes because they're so much smaller. Always watch for the idiots to do stupid things. In the middle of a police escorted line of bikes, 100 strong though, that's just plain attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon in my book. And they charged her for it too. I think they hit her with every charge they could think of. Alright, I'm sorry, but if I saw a large group of motorcycles coming down the road, that would probably be around the last group of people that I would want to back out in front of and get really pissed off with me. Because you never know what kind of group of bikers that is. Yeah, OP might have been in one of the nice biker groups, but there are definitely ones out there that wouldn't treat her with the respect that they did. It really gets to me how impatient some people can be. I've seen this one out in traffic many times. People that pull out in front when they shouldn't, people that change lanes without looking, people who zoom past you when you're already going 10 over the speed limit. I just don't understand it. Why is everybody in such a friggin' hurry? This story comes to us from Inept Lobster. Gun running? No, I just like having options. It was a dark and stormy night, except it was 0600 and I was heading up to New Windsor in New York to play some airsoft. It was chilly, about 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and I had on an olive drab hoodie, Marpat camo trousers, bloused around the boots, and a soft shell jacket in khaki in the back seat. Also in the backseat was my chest rig and my battle belt with empty pouches all around. Well, aside from the Baofeng radio, I had a separate Baofeng in the front passenger seat charging away, connected to my headset I was going to use that day. In the trunk of my tiny little hatchback was all my weapons for the day: an M16A4, an M249, 2 ammunition cans with about 10,000 rounds each, a knockoff Pelican case with handguns, magazines, batteries, slings, and other various doodads to enable me to play all day. Everything was going swimmingly as I wound my way up the New Jersey Turnpike and off on a side highway. Nothing going through my head but the smooth sounds of Metallica. That is, until I heard a siren blip that was most definitely not part of Master of Puppets. I checked my rear view to see a local officer with red and blue lights dazzlingly bright reflected back. I pulled into the nearest lot, an old and abandoned store parking lot, and waited. He came up to my window not much later, and I found out that I was doing 63 in a 55. Oops. I suppose he noticed the way I was dressed and the tactical gear strewn around the interior of my car, because he asked me if I had any weapons in the car. I mentioned airsoft and saw him deflate a tiny bit. He asked the normal questions about where I was heading and why so early, etc. I don't mind answering. It was a 2-hour and 11-minute drive after all. Well, with the amount of replicas in the car, he did ask if he could take a look to be on the safe side, which I of course let him do. What I didn't expect was being handcuffed outside of my car for officer safety. Oh well, guess I'm gonna be a bit late for the safety brief. I also didn't expect him to take every single weapon out of the various cases and put them on the hood of his car. By the time he was done, it looked like I was smuggling weapons from a military base or something. Gas mask, goggles, tactical gloves, they were all laid out too. The belt of 10 fake 5.56 rounds was out, the ammo cans were on the hood as well. Suddenly, I wasn't even sure I was going to make it to the game at all. He came over to me not much later and uncuffed me. Sorry, like I said, safety. He explained that he just wanted to make sure there wasn't an illegal assault weapon hiding in the pile. And after he was satisfied, he asked if he could take a picture of the various weapons out on the hood of his car. I agreed, as long as I wasn't in the picture. Don't need that photo floating around the internet for my boss to find. In the end, he got a cool looking picture. I made it to the game easily on time, because I am a dingus and read 0800 instead of 0930 start time, and had a fun time playing. Until the M16 gearbox jammed and the M249 stripped the piston. I think in this case you really need to look at it from the officer's point of view. They're walking up on a car that they've pulled over for speeding, and all of a sudden they see a whole bunch of tactical gear right in front of them, and a guy who's dressed up like he knows how to use it. I'd say they definitely have to err on the side of caution. Now, I'm a little tossed up between the officer asking OP to look in the car and OP saying yes, but then the officer handcuffing OP for his own safety. That was a little bit odd to me. Now, I don't begin to say that I have any idea how police protocols work, but if I were that officer, I wouldn't be going through anything in that car unless I had other officers on scene as well. Sit back, wait for backup, and then do it at that point. Then one officer could be talking with OP while the other one's going through the equipment in the car. OP wouldn't need to be detained. Again, I know nothing about their policies though. Comment down below, let me know what you think of this situation. I would love to hear it. This story comes to us from I'm Bambi B. Game Warden, I'll make you a deal. I took that deal, my friend did not. I was at a state park fishing. We had picked what we felt was a remote spot as we wanted to fish and smoke a little bit of weed. This was years ago, before weed laws were as progressive as they are now. Well, a game warden found us, and I don't know if you know about game wardens, but if you're on a state park, the game warden doesn't need probable cause to search you. They don't need your consent. They are law enforcement. My buddy and I were both very much aware of this rule. We had been smoking. We heard a guy approaching us. We threw the joint in the water. Game warden comes up and goes, "Having a good time fishing?" I go, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Staying under the limit?" And I go, "That's awfully easy when you ain't catching anything." He laughs and goes, "So the reason I came by here is cause I smelled weed. And having drugs or alcohol on your person in a state park is a crime." I'm thinking, crap, let's try to reason my way out of this. So I go, "And what makes you think it's us?" He goes, "'Cause you're the only people here, and deer don't smoke pot." To which I thought, fair point. So the game warden said, "So I'm gonna make you a deal." I go, "Okay." He goes, "I'm gonna search you. If I find anything illegal, I'm gonna confiscate it, and you're gonna need to leave the park right away and can't come back on for 1 month. Also, I won't charge you with anything." Truth be told, we had no intentions of returning anytime soon. Also, I know he didn't need my permission to search me, so I figured I might as well take the deal and hope he's telling the truth. Now, the joint we had smoked my buddy was carrying, I still had my joint. So I agreed, and my buddy is like, "Bro, he's lying." And I'm thinking, even if he is, it doesn't matter. So the cop finds my joint, he rips it up, throws it in the water, and looks at my buddy and says, "Your turn." My buddy goes, "No, you can't search me." And the game warden says, "Yes, I can." So my buddy turns and runs. One problem with running, which FYI I had thought of, it was really slippery to get out of there. So I figured even if I attempted to run, I wouldn't get far. But my buddy, he didn't think that far. So he ran, he then slipped, he then got cuffed, he then got searched. The cop found a half pint of whiskey we were going to share. My friend was also underage, so was I. So the game warden arrests my friend. The game warden says, "Well, alright, I'll take you back to my station, and you can call your folks." So the game warden puts my friend in the back of the car, and I sit up front. We get to the station, my friend is put in a holding cell, and I go, "So what do I do?" The game warden goes, "You can use the office phone to call your folks to come pick you up." And I go, "What about my friend?" The game warden said, "He's going to have to wait for me to process him, but you're free to go." I go, "Really?" The game warden goes, "A deal is a deal. You are banned for 1 month though, so don't let me catch you back here." I go, "Alright." So I call my parents, my dad comes and gets me, my dad asks the game warden what happened, and the game warden said he caught my friend doing something wrong, but I was good to go and just needed a ride home. My friend ended up being charged as a minor with possession of alcohol and breaking some state park regulations. He was banned from all state parks for a year and had to attend an alcohol and drug abuse class. Thankfully, we were under 18 and that record won't follow him anywhere. I personally didn't come back to the park for a good 4 to 5 months, and when I did, the game warden saw me and asked me how I was doing, and I said, "Just fine, thank you, and yourself?" Later, my friend was like, "Why did you trust the game warden? Cops can lie." I go, "I know they can lie. I also knew I didn't have a choice." Jumping down to the comment section below, there's one from a user called Snark the Brave. It says, "I've known a couple folks that were rangers at state parks here in my state. They used to always say that they would do everything they could to avoid the law enforcement side of the job. Get caught with alcohol in the park, confiscate, stern lecture, and carry on. Pull somebody over for doing 65 on the road where the speed limit is 25, stern lecture, promise you'll slow down, carry on." According to them, they hated the paperwork and had more to worry about keeping folks from hurting themselves, accidentally falling into a ravine, being stupid while they were out hiking. So as long as you acted remotely remorseful when you got caught, you could get away with a lecture for just about anything. What I don't understand on this one is that OP's friend saw OP get searched and nothing come of it. But then they decided to be the moron and run away? What did they think was going to happen? Did they think they were going to get away and their friend wasn't going to be like, "I don't know who that is. I don't know their name." I mean, come on. There was no way that was going to end well for OP's friend. This story comes to us from I'm Bambi B. You know your dad is going to make you spend the weekend here, right? When I was a teenager, I supplied alcohol and some weed to a house party. Things went south, I got arrested. We also had a family friend who worked for the same department that arrested me that knew me very well. We'll call the family friend John. So it's Friday around 10 p.m. and I'm arrested, getting processed, getting put into the holding cell. Apparently John saw my name or heard me or something. Basically, he found out I was arrested by his department. By this point, I had been told I was going to be released to my parents, and I had given the arresting officer my dad's information. Well, John comes to my holding cell and he goes, "OP, why were you being a dumb butt?" I shrug my shoulders and he goes, "You know your dad's gonna make you spend the weekend here, right?" I go, "Yeah, I figure." He smiles, "Don't worry, you'll be fine." I then hear him talking to the arresting officer, trying to get a hold of his dad to come get him. His dad ain't gonna come get him till Monday. Been friends with them for 10 years. I'll try in 30 minutes. I guess he tried again. Arresting officer came to me and said, your dad says he'll come get you Monday after work. It was summer, I had no school. FYI, I was literally like 5 miles from my house, but my dad wanted to teach me a lesson. John made it better though. I was told I was going to be transported to the youth jail. That's when John came in and said, let me take OP. John was nice enough to not handcuff and just told me to get in the back of his car. He asked if I was hungry. I said yeah. We ran through a drive-thru and explained I wouldn't be getting any food till breakfast and it wouldn't be good. On the way over, John explained what was probably going to happen to me, that as long as I learned my lesson and stopped doing dumb crap, this arrest wasn't going to screw me up. But he hammered home, you're gonna need to learn from this or your life will suck. So John gets me to the youth jail. Guards were surprised I wasn't in handcuffs. John told them I was clean. I was. He asked me. I was honest. So I didn't have to get all the evasive searches, which I was happy about. They just gave me jailhouse clothes. I changed and spent that weekend in jail. My dad came and got me at 4:30 p.m. on Monday on the way home. He goes, did you get time to stew over your decision? I said, yeah. He said, great, you're grounded for a month. If I have to pay any fines, your allowance is forfeited until I'm paid back. And that's the story, how I spent the weekend in jail. FYI, first and last time I ever ended up in jail. It's not a fun place. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called More Fetus. Weird. It says, having a dad at home who cares for you makes a big difference. The next comment down from Deadbass72 says, especially one that cares enough to leave you there for a little. Yeah, that's exactly it right there. I was in a very similar situation to OP once, and my dad asked if I could be left in there, but they didn't have the room for me, so they had to let me out. But it was interesting knowing that my dad wanted me to spend time in there to think about what I'd done. And now that I'm around the same age my dad was at the time, I completely understand where he was coming from. So young people listening to this, yeah, I mean, at the time, your parents are going to seem like they're big buttholes, but they do have the best of intentions, and you're going to realize that when you get older. One thing that I've said all along as I've gotten older is, I thought my parents were a bunch of pricks when I was a kid because of the way that they treated me and how hard they were on me. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that I was the one that was hard on them, and they were just trying to cope with it. So Mom, Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry I was a butthole as a kid. But I got kids of my own now, so we'll see where that goes. Check out all 4 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.